Hi there! Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Julie DiMatteo, the Paper Pixie, and in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this mini card pouch, as well as the set of mini cards inside. This is such a cute little way to hold a set of mini cards, to have them ready to give out as random acts of kindness or as a sweet little gift for somebody. We're going to be using products from the Lovely in Linen Suite. We've got the Lovely and Lasting Punch Bundle, which I absolutely love this for all occasion cards, with the really beautiful lasting label punch. The Lovely in Linen Designer Series paper, beautiful color combination in this paper. And you can find the Lovely in Linen Suite on pages 24 and 25 of the 2022 to 2023 annual catalog. I do want to show you how to make this whole set of cards and the pouch from start to finish. I am going to be fast forwarding through quite a bit of these, but I wanted to show you my process and give you some tips and tricks along the way so that you can make this card set and pouch on your own. So let me show you how. Okay, first I'm going to start with 2 pieces of the Lovely in Linen Designer Series paper. These are full 12 by 12 sheets. If you had a directional pattern, you'd want the direction to go from top to bottom. And we are going to cut both of these pieces to 6 inches. So we're going to end up with 4 6 by 12 inch pieces. But for this project, we're only going to need 3 6 by 12 inch pieces, so take one of them and put them away to save for a future project. I'm going to put one of the 6 by 12 pieces off to the side. We're going to use that for the pouch. But let's focus on creating our 8 card bases here out of Designer Series paper. I love creating card bases out of our double-sided pattern paper. It's a great way to use up your pattern paper stash. So we're going to go ahead and score first. My best tip here is to score first. It'll save you some time. So with this in portrait, so along the 6 inch side, we're going to score both pieces at the 3 inch mark. The next thing I'm going to do is turn it to the long side, and then we're going to cut these pieces to 3 inch pieces. So you're going to end up with 4 3 inch by 6 inch pieces from each of these 6 by 12 pieces. Repeat the same thing on the second piece, cutting these to 3 inch pieces. And then what we're left with are 8 pieces that are scored and ready to go for our card bases. Next, grab a full sheet of 8.5 by 11 of basic white, and along the short side or the 8.5 inch side, cut 2 strips to 2 3/4. The leftover piece, add that back to your stash for a future project. And then we're going to cut these 2 pieces. I'm going to turn it to the long side, and we're going to cut these to 2 3/4. So we're going to have 2 3/4 inch square pieces of basic white. With those 2 strips, you can get exactly 8 2 3/4 inch square pieces of basic white. All right, now next I want to share a tip with you for creating multiples. This is going to be our label piece that we add to each of our mini cards. And I just have a scrap piece of basic white that I'm going to put here in the upper corner. And first I'm going to lay down the piece from the Lovely and Lasting stamp set that I want as the outside border of the labels. I'm just going to lay that towards the bottom of this scrap piece of basic white so that I can make sure to get the punch in there to punch that out. Then I'm going to close the Stamparatus lid on that to pick up the stamp. And we're going to be using 2 ink colors today, Sweet Sorbet and Night of Navy. For this outside frame, I'm going to stamp that in Sweet Sorbet, making sure that our piece is in the upper corner here, and stamp. Now I'm going to go ahead and flip my plate here on the Stamparatus, and I'm going to bring in the sentiment "Thank you" from Lovely and Lasting, and we're going to layer that here on our label piece where we want it to stamp. And then I'm going to go ahead and pick that up with the plate, and then we're going to ink this up with Night of Navy. Like so. So the stamps are lined up. My other tip here is to take a pen or pencil and just put a few arrows here so you know where the top of your template needs to go. Then I'm going to come in with the Lasting label punch, and with our template here, I'm just going to come in and punch out the label. And we're going to end up needing 9 of these. This is the first of the 9. But now what we've created is this great template. So I'm going to go ahead and put this template back here, and I'm going to hold it in place with a magnet. Okay. Next, I've got 2 strips of basic white that are just cut to about 2 1/8 inch wide. And I'm going to come in and punch out now 8 blanks of the Lasting label punch. And now that we have our 8 blanks, we can get to work on making multiples. So I'm going to start with stamping all of the frames in the sweet sorbet, and I'm just going to take the blank and put that right there in the template. So now when I ink up this stamp and stamp it down, it's going to go exactly where we want that to go. This will save you so much time. And take your pick tool, and that will help you get this out of the template there. I'm just going to repeat that for the remaining pieces. All right, now we're going to go ahead and flip our plate and we can stamp our thank you, repeating the same process of putting the label into the template. All right, and just like that, we've got our 8 additional stamped labels ready for the cards. Now we're going to do a little bit more stamping while we've got our ink pads out. These are our 2 3/4 inch pieces of basic white. And I'm grabbing the 2 small floral pieces from Lovely and Lasting, and we're going to go ahead and stamp the inside pieces of these cards. Just like so. We're also going to add a little bit of stamping to our mini envelopes with one of the small floral stamps as well. So cute. I've got a couple of strips of the Sweet Sorbet cardstock. We're going to come in and punch out 8 of the Label Me Lovely punch outs. And then I have 8 pieces of pale papaya that measure just under 3/4 inch by 3 1/8. And we're going to punch out those ends with banner ends using the Banner's Pick-a-Punch. I like to feed it into the punch and then flip it over and make sure that I've got that centered before punching. So I'm going to do that for all the pieces. All right, now we got our 8 pieces punched. For this next part, I'm going to bring in the silicone craft sheet. We're going to go ahead and build the front part of our card here. Get all of our pieces and parts lined up. The first thing we're going to do is layer our banner piece over the Sweet Sorbet label piece. And I'm just putting liquid glue right in the center. And we're going to line that up, centering it left to right, top to bottom. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the sentiment piece over the top of that. Again, liquid glue kind of in the center. And then get this to line up. So that's what that's going to look like layered together, and I'm going to repeat that for the remaining 7 pieces. Okay, we got those ready to go. Next, let's bring in our card bases here, and I'm going to go ahead and fold and burnish those, folding those on the score line. Then we're going to take our basic white pieces and adhere those to the inside of the cards. All right, now we're going to go ahead and adhere our little sentiment piece to the front. And then finally, I'm just going to lay these cards out and we're going to add some rhinestones to them. Then the cards are finished. How cute are those all lined up? All right, now let's go ahead and create the mini card pouch, bringing in that third 6 by 12 inch piece on the short side. Again, if this was directional, your pattern will be going from top to bottom. I'm gonna score at 1 3/8 from each side. So just rotate it 180 and do 1 3/8 again, or you could do 1 3/8 and 4 5/8. Then I'm going to rotate it to the long side. And if you had a directional pattern, you'd want to make sure that the top of your pattern is here on the left. And we're going to go ahead and score this at 4 inches, 5 inches, and 9 inches. So 4, 5, and 9. Next, we're going to come in and burnish on all the score lines. I'm going to bring in a template here. Now you want to pay attention to where your 1 inch scored section is. You want that to be towards the bottom. And then we're going to remove the rectangles here in the upper right. So like it's referenced here on the template. Again, the section that has the single score line, not the double score lines. If it's easier for you to see your score lines on one side or the other of the paper, just flip to the side that makes it the easiest. And we're going to cut up the score line, the vertical score line here, stopping at that first horizontal score line. And then we're going to remove this corner. So I'm going to turn it 1/4 of a turn and then cut up that score line to remove that rectangle corner. Like that. You can save that piece for a future project. Same thing on the opposite side here. come in and remove that corner piece like so. Again, the section that is not near that 1-inch section. The next thing we're gonna do is fold these sides in. We're gonna create these diagonal score lines. We're gonna use our score lines and our paper to help us with that. So I think you can see we've got this score line here. I wanna line up that score line with the folded edge, and that's gonna help us create our diagonal score line here. I do also like to come in either with my fingernail or the tip of my bone folder to sort of get that corner started. And again, lining up this score line with the edge is going to give us a diagonal fold here. You can come in then and burnish the diagonal fold from the inside. And let me show you what that looks like up close, like so. Okay, we're going to repeat the same thing on all of those 4 intersections. Okay, again, taking that score line and lining it up with the edge to give us that diagonal fold, and repeat on the other 2. So you're going to have something that looks like this. Okay, got those diagonal score lines. You can kind of see here in the lights that look like this. Okay. Now, we're going to add adhesive to this, but in very strategic spots. I'm just going to grab a Sharpie here to show you on the template that we're going to do adhesive here up to that diagonal. Same thing here. Okay. You want to make sure that you are not putting adhesive on these triangular pieces or that middle section. So liquid glue for this, I like to put all the liquid glue down first. Going to save me a little bit of time, again going right up to that diagonal and then filling in the rest of the space out to the edge. Just kind of start where that diagonal is, so you don't want to go past it. We've got a little bit of time with the liquid glue here, so we're just going to do it all at once. All right, it's going to be hard to see with this pattern, but you can see that the glue only goes up to that diagonal. So now what we can do is just fold those edges down flat, and the glue is going to go just where we want it to go. Okay. Come in with your bone folder, kind of burnish that into place. And then once that's done, watch what happens when you fold it up. Because we didn't put glue in this center section with those diagonals, we're now creating that little pouch. I love the way that that works. Okay, that's what our pouch is going to look like. Now let's go ahead and decorate this pouch. I've got a piece of sweet sorbet that measures 3 1/4 by 2. We're just going to score this in half on the 2-inch side at the 1-inch mark. Just right down the middle there. Burnish on that score line. And then on the inside of this cardstock, I'm just going to put liquid glue. Just do one side at a time here. I like to set that down on my surface and then bring this top edge all the way up to the score line here. Just using your surface to help you get that lined up. Liquid glue helps to slide it into place. So we've just adhered that to the front here. And then what I can do now is put liquid glue on the other half of that cardstock and then just fold it down. Choose any coordinating color you like for this project. Just going to burnish and make sure that that's adhered. Just gives us a little bit of strength here because this is the piece that we're going to add Velcro to. Now to give this a little bit of structure, let's come back in with our cards. I'm going to stagger these so that they kind of go upside down, so we've got some extra space with the rhinestone there. I don't want a ton of bulk with these cards so that they fit in the pouch. But by doing that, you get it to stack a little bit nicer because of the bumpy rhinestones. Then we've got our 8 envelopes we can stack with it. And then these should fit perfectly inside that little pouch. How cute is that? All right, these are the thin clear fasteners, 5/8 of an inch in diameter. I sandwiched together all the hooks and loops so that I'm ready to go to just cut off one when I'm ready to use it. I'm gonna start by figuring out which side is the loop side or the scratchier side. That's the clearer side. I'm gonna stick that to the back side of the sweet sorbet piece of cardstock, okay? I'm going to pull the backing off the loop side or the more opaque side. And then I want to take my time here, lining up this edge right up to that score line, and then taking my time when I fold this pouch flap down. I want to make sure that everything is lined up before I press that Velcro dot into place. Now, we are working with a thinner paper here, so I want to make sure I come in with my index fingers and thumbs and just press that Velcro dot in place really well before we try to separate these pieces. So be gentle. separating them, then press those down into place again one more time. Now we're gonna go ahead and decorate this piece. The first thing that I wanna do is to tie some linen thread around it, and I'm gonna wrap that around a few times here. Just kind of getting a long tail here on the left, but I'm gonna wrap this around 1, 2, we'll do 3 for good measure. Okay, so we've got 3 loops on the front. Now what I can do is leave this on the spool, close my little treat pouch to give me some leverage here, and then I can come in and tie a bow here. I love to use reverse tweezers for this. I'm gonna come in and do my little crisscross for the bow. I like to go underneath all those layers with this one tail. Got my little crisscross. I'm gonna hold that together with my reverse tweezers and then tie my bow. Pull the tweezers out, and then we can mess with the bow a little bit here. Trim off the tails. And I do want that bow to be a little bit off to the right here, so I'm just gonna kind of slide everything over. Now we've got our 9th tag here that I'm gonna go ahead and stick right there with some dimensionals. All right, we'll go ahead and pop that over our twine here. I'm gonna add one more piece of bling. And then we're left with a beautiful mini card pouch with coordinating mini cards on the inside. I love the way that this sweet little card pouch works. Great thing to add to your glove box to have mini cards ready to go to thank people that you see throughout your day. And it's also a great way to use up your designer series paper. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss my next video. If you're interested in purchasing any of the Stampin' Up! Products I used today, they'll be linked in the description. And I'll also include a link to my detailed blog post with all project measurements, details, and a picture of the template. I'd love to have you come visit me at thepaperpixie.com where I post projects to inspire you. And if you give this project a try, I'd love to see what you made. So feel free to share it on social media with the hashtag #PaperPixie, and I'll be sure to check it out. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Take care. Bye.